All right, today, November the 10th, 2024. Welcome to Triple Option, our weekly college football review show. I am your host, Mr. 411. And yes, Mr. 411 is in the building today. Man, what a week of college football. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give a preview of who we think should be in the college football playoff, talk about some of the upsets, some teams that control their own destiny. And we want to get into that real quick. But before we do so, let's give the credit where it's due to Terrence Jones, my brother. Music by J Tones. That intro, that fantastic intro was produced by Terrence, and he can produce a lot of things for you if you need anything musically inclined there. Music by jtones at gmail.com. Reach out to him. Music by jtones at gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. You can just scan the QR code, or you can type in Mr. 411. And please do the same thing on TikTok, Mr. 411. We appreciate everybody who's currently following us and those who will. And make sure you share. All right. Scan that QR code. Also, we are currently on YouTube. All our episodes, our live episodes are on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube by typing in 411 Sports World Network. That is 411 Sports World Network on YouTube. We also have a simulcast that's going on, Surge TV. Big shout out to Surge TV for the simulcast. And the people in the Northeast, they get to check out 411 Sports World Network. So we appreciate Surge TV for the simulcast. All right, let's jump into it. Man, what a week. College football. We're going to get a couple of the scores up. As you can see here, Iowa State, number 17, falling to Kansas in an upset there. All right, so that sets the tone there for what you're going to really hear about today. There were some upsets, man, and there was some changes it's going to occur, some playoff implications, some ranking shifting and all that kind of stuff is going to go on because of that. But yes, Kansas with the big victory. So you see on the board here, we have 3 games here that we want to touch on, and that's the Michigan Wolverines losing to Indiana, 15-20. Close battle, but Indiana did pull it off, and they're 10-0. And so Coach Shinetti, man, coming from the James Madison program that once upon a time was an FCS program, and still Division I football, but FCS is the division of D1 football that doesn't quite get all the bells and whistles that the FBS level gets. And but James Madison did move into FBS, I think last year, and they did well. But Coach Shinetti brought a lot of his players from James Madison, and they came along with him over to Indiana in the Big Ten Conference. And man, they are 10-0. They just defeated the Michigan Wolverines, one of the mainstays in the Big Ten Conference. And so we have to look at them now as each week goes by. We've been talking about this. Corey and I have been talking about this with Indiana. The calculators talked about it on our Crossing the Lines friendly wager sports show, and man, they are getting the job done in Indiana. Not a spectacular victory this past weekend, but they got the job done, and they're continuing to win, and that's what matters at the end of the day. And I raised the question, just like I will for a couple other programs, which one we'll mention later on. Record, right, undefeated. Level of competition. Okay, we could put a question mark there. However, they're in the Big Ten, which that conference does have, ranked multiple ranked opponent teams, and so Indiana at some point will have to really prove themselves in the end. But what a job they're doing now, because who would have even thought that Indiana would even be relevant in college football? All right, so we're going to move on from there and talk about another team that is on a roll, and another team that could possibly control their destiny, just like Indiana can, and that's the Colorado Buffaloes head coach Deion Sanders. Uh, the team is looking good. Their offensive line has been playing much better, and they're putting up points. And that's one thing that the Colorado Buffaloes have done uh, pretty much since day one. Put up points. But Deion coached that style of football, and having his son at the helm, Shador Sanders, he has the right person to be able to control that. And then, of course, having Travis Hunter, the all-world football player that can play on the offensive end and the defensive end, just a superb football player and athlete on top of that. But he's a superb football player. He studies. He's an intelligent player, and then have those God gives abilities to play and move the way he does. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the all-time great uh, college football athletes. It might be different to say totally player, because when you do play both ways like that, you're not really getting the dominating numbers on both ends. But however, you can kind of project and see that, man, this guy here um, has to be the best football player in the country as far as college goes. But victory, and, Colorado, again, look at Shador Sanders, 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards passing. Again, one of my questions will be with them, though, look at the rushing totals between Texas Tech and Colorado. This would possibly be the Achilles heel of the Buffaloes. Um, Look at it. You have 10 carries for 32 yards. That's the leading rusher. Oh, but then if you look at the Texas Tech side of things, 31 carries, 137 yards rushing and a touchdown for Brooks. What I'm looking at there is the 31 carries. That's telling me that you can run the ball on Colorado. And then if you look at the 10 carries, rushing attempts from their top back on the Colorado side, it's like they're just abandoning the run. I'm not sure if this formula will work long term, but based on the opponents that Colorado's been playing all season, they're better than most of the teams that they're facing. And that's the thing about college football. It's not like the NFL where you have like a schedule and most teams play the same kind of teams, or you can have a team, for example, Colorado play a schedule is just totally different from, let's just say, Georgia Bulldogs schedule, or even the Oregon schedule. A lot of it's conference based on what conference you're in, what division of the conference you're in, and then the games that you schedule outside of that, where a lot of teams schedule some homecoming cupcake matchups and stuff like that. So your schedule can really be deceiving, and I'm gonna weave that thread in later on when we talk about another team. But nonetheless, Colorado is going to, I would say, by later on today, will be ranked within the top 20 in the country. They're moving up as long as they continue to win. And if some other teams could, drop, Colorado could possibly find themselves in the college football playoff scenario. Of course, we're going to go back and pull up their remaining games. And as you can see there, you have the Utah Utes, who, by the way, lost to BYU by 1 point. They gave BYU all they could handle. But again, BYU continues to win as well. The Kansas Jayhawks, again, with the upset victory over our state. So you don't want to take that one lightly, but Colorado should be favored in that game. And then Oklahoma State, Colorado should be favored in that game. So if they can win out and then win the Big 12 championship game, they will then be in the playoff. So Colorado controls their own destiny at this point. There's no reason for any excuses or anybody to say that no one wants you in. The media is this, the media is doing that, they're hating on us. Colorado has the clear path on their own to make it to the championship. So they can get into that playoff. And then once you get in the playoff, you can win the whole thing. So there you go. All right, big shout out there to Nard. Nard from the Nard Report. This is my guy right here. This young man's doing great things. I love to follow his work. Um, and I do my best to jump in whenever he has lives. Hey, Nard, if you ever want me to be on, invite me, bro. I'll be there for you. He thinks that Colorado will sneak into the playoffs. That's what he believes. And hey, by the way, I'm gonna people want to drop a line here so that into the comments. So if you feel like wanting to chat with me, you definitely can. But I am going to put this in the live for those who want to jump in. It's okay if you want to, but definitely appreciate you if you're listening. We're going to take just a quick break, and we're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to talk about a couple more teams and a couple more matchups here on week 11 with the upsets, man. There was some upsets going on this week, and we'll dive into it in just a few minutes. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Big shout out to GG Events. Make sure you check her out. All the information is across the bottom there. Go to ggevents718 at gmail.com. ggevents718 at gmail.com. GG Events NYC. I'm telling you, man, GG does some great work. As you can see in that commercial, or you can see some of the stuff that she does. All right. And then again, once again, big shout out to Nard, the Nard Report. Make sure you check him out on all social media platforms. The Nard Report. All right, let's get into another matchup here. Yes, South Carolina. Okay, got to keep an eye on this team. They have a 6-3 record. They're bowl eligible, and Vanderbilt is having a solid season this year. I mean, the big upset of Alabama. They gave Texas all they can handle, and they with a 6-4 record, that's not bad for a Vanderbilt program. But the thing here is the South Carolina man beating Texas A&M at home. Now giving Georgia all they can handle, giving LSU all they can handle, and now beating a top 25 team in Vanderbilt is impressive. But what impressed me most about them is their defense. Okay, South Carolina's defense is legit, right? They are a defense, and whenever you have a good defense, you have a chance to win. You can travel. You can play anywhere in the country, and I just want to bring them up because this is a team that it's kind of under the radar, but man, they can really do some damage, and they can really mess up somebody's season at this point. And so you got to keep an eye on that. And that's a quality victory over Vanderbilt. All right. Good morning, Philly Red Zone. We're gonna bring Philly Red Zone in. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. 411? How's it going?
Hey, it's going well, man. Just sitting here, just chopped it up a little bit about Vanderbilt. South Carolina with their defense and how impressive they are to me there on that end. And we just recently talked about the Indiana victory. They're 10-0 now, and with the victory over Michigan, and then also the Colorado Buffaloes continue their winning ways. And basically, now both teams kind of set themselves up where they can control their own destiny. I want to get your thoughts on that, man. What do you think about Indiana and Colorado?
Man, Indiana, they just a machine, blue collar team. They do the little things right. They don't have all the, 5-star athletes like your LSU's, Alabama's, and schools like that. But those guys, they block well, they tackle well. Their receivers is catching the ball when they're quarterback is putting it on them. They play small ball, get the first down, kicking field goals when they need to. And I mean they're just not losing games, and they're at the end of the game. I mean they look dominant because I mean the margins of victories is just is impressive. Um, and the national pundits still have yet to really like give them their respect, because it's Indiana. You know, if it was Ohio or Penn State, you know, being 10-0, we wouldn't hear the last of it. But
Correct.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Indiana and Colorado. I mean, same deal. I mean, it was some mistakes in that game. I watched the full length of that game against Texas Tech. I mean, early in the game, it could have got out of hand, but I give it to Warren Sapp and that defensive coordinator. Whatever they made, whatever changes they made on that defensive line, and how those linebackers is pursuing the ball, and the cornerbacks. Well, outside of the two-way kid
Yeah,
on
Hunter.
to Hunter, the other cornerbacks have stepped up. I mean, you almost nobody on challenge Hunter on this side, but yeah, I mean the defense overall, stepped up and played well to keep them in the game, keep it manageable until the offense got clicking, because there was a lot of mistakes that Shador was making. He was overthinking, his possessions when he needed to get rid of the ball. He's trying to do his best impression of Lamar type of athlete. He got a rocket arm, but he's flat footed. He has zero speed, to get around the edges and run away from defense ends and linebackers. But I mean they came back, and at halftime, I mean to keep that game manageable and just to run away with it, in Tech Stadium. I mean it was impressive. With that early part of the game, could they get away with that against another marquee team? I don't think so. They was going up against the right team to where they, the mistakes they made early, they got away with it. But I'm impressed. I mean, they 7-2 now, 7-3.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Let's see. They're I believe they're 7-3 right now.
7-3. I
Yeah,
mean, so
we'll verify that. I think it might be two. I think
yeah,
it only
I think it's 7-2. Yeah, so I mean they're right there, making a
yeah.
making a playoff push, in a new format. So it'll be definitely impressive for Dion, his coaching staff, year two, to go from winning 4 games early to not winning another game, to fast forward another season and then you're 7-2 and
Yeah.
you're in the playoffs. So kudos to them.
Well, that's what Nard from the Nard report saying. He thinks that Colorado will sneak into the playoffs. Um, I
I
think
mean,
they,
they went out. There's no sneaking. I mean, they
yeah,
just got went out.
yeah, they can control their own destiny here, and I think that'll be great. Speaking of Nard, he's here, so we can go ahead and get Nard's thoughts on Colorado. Nard, what are you thinking, man? You saying that you believe that Colorado's going to sneak into the playoffs?
Yes, sir. I do believe that because when I look at Colorado, Coach Prime is an excellent coach. Shadu Sanders is an amazing quarterback. Travis Hunter is an elite player. Favorites to win a Heisman this year. And if Colorado does get into the playoffs, they should be the team to beat.
Okay. Well, we will definitely see if that's the case. Here's my concerns, gentlemen, about Colorado. Well, one is okay schedule, and I said the same thing about another team that we're gonna bring up a little bit that just lost to Georgia Tech. But the you know the in college football, there's so many teams, right? There's 100 something teams. There's all these conferences. Then you got conferences that are divided into divisions. So the scheduling is not really similar like it could be like in the NFL. So some of that is who you're playing. And a lot of times, most of the opponents they're playing are teams that they, quote unquote, should be better than. And that's a compliment because for them to actually be better than a lot of opponents is a good thing. But I have a concern about the schedule and opponents. And then also, if you look at the rushing category here, all right, Texas Tech ran the ball 31 times. Just one running, just one running back had 31 carries. Their running back in Colorado, 10 carries. So
Yeah.
when you have such a disparity in run pass balance, that concerns me because I don't think you can just kind of just air it or just sling the ball all over the place against quote unquote the playoff teams. So what do y'all
Yeah.
think about that?
No, I agree. I mean, we talked about it weeks ago. I mean, again, the plan for Shador is to show his arm off. They playing chess while everybody wants them to play checkers, man. That running game, I watched that running game. You know, they the running back he popped a few, maybe 5, 7 yards, but they just don't have the line. They don't have the road graders up front that can really change the line of scrimmage, and that's the problem. I mean, that running back, when he would touch the ball, he would have to make the first guy miss damn near in the backfield before he's even handed the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had a clear path, he was trying to get a full head of steam, and the linebackers was right on him, shedding their blocks, and getting on them, 2, 3 yards, past the line of scrimmage. So they're just not a good, efficient running team. They don't have the the big enough, guard center that's up front. They got big tackles, but their tackles are designed to protect the pass. They suck at run blocking
Yeah.
because how they set their hips and drive. They just don't have it. All of them play over their feet and they get off balance once the defensive end, basically gauge them, when they're trying to block them in the run and they just falling over, So, and I think Dion and his offensive coordinator, understand that what type of team they are, and then they got immense speed and athleticism on the outside, so it's attractive to throw that ball. And
Yeah.
they know Shador can put the ball, he can make every throw in that field efficient, as a young quarterback. So, and again, they playing chess, man. They know this kid is going to be a top 5 player, and owners want to see the arm. They don't want to see the run. So that's what they're doing, man.
They're setting it up, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, do you have any concerns about Colorado?
No, sir. As long as they continue to do what they're doing, they will be in the playoffs. But that is a phenomenal team.
All right. And Corey, I think you was out there listening. Welcome in, man. And we're talking about the Colorado Buffaloes. They control their destiny at this point, their own destiny. Um, we kind of went over some pros and cons there. What's your thoughts on Colorado? And then I know you would love to say something about Indiana, so you could throw that in too. Then we can move on to the Georgia game.
I think he on mute.
Oh, Corey, can you hear us? All right. We'll get Corey acclimated. We'll get Corey rolling here in a minute. I'm sorry, he'll be back. Guys, while we're here,
Mhm.
Boise State, um, Boise State with another victory. Okay.
Yep.
And Ashton Genty with another huge game. All
Yeah.
right.
What do you have? 400 yards?
Yeah, I mean, Ashton Genty is doing it, man. Another 200 on the ground, man. And since we are talking about Colorado, go ahead and bring up Ashton Genty and what they did. Boise with another victory and another huge performance by him. Corey, can you hear us?
Yes, let me get situated, but I hear y'all.
Okay, you get situated. So, guys, what do you think about that? We're going to shift right into that Heisman Trophy talk.
I mean,
Um, there,
Mr. What's his name? Gentry.
yeah,
Actually watched part of his game the other night. I mean, the kid got it. Uh, I mean, he's up there. I mean, is he clear favorite? I mean, between him and Gabriel with what he's doing with Oregon, and then you got Travis Hunter. I mean, between those three, Gentry pretty much is leading the pack by just I'll say a small margin because of the consistency every week. I mean, the young man is averaging 110 plus yards every game rushing. You know, And I mean, they're not even adding the all-purpose yards that he's accumulating as well. You know, so I mean, it's impressive, man, to see a kid do that. You know, and here they was highlighting his background and where he came from, and it's just it's just impressive, man. A father who was in the military, and the level of standard of excellence that his parents instilled in him, and for him to come out, to know that he didn't out of high school he didn't get a lot of looks, and Boise State gave him an opportunity, and kudos to them, man. It is paying off.
Yeah,
To have a Heisman, finalist in Boise, that's impressive, man. I don't know how many players through the Boise Cowboys history have ever been,
man.
just talked about to be in the Heisman, let alone possibly winning.
Yeah, and I think anytime you mention Barry Sanders, right, in the same sentence with Gentry, you gotta be talking Heisman. That's
Yeah,
just my take. I think he's not the Vegas favorite, but he's definitely my favorite to win it. As long
yeah,
as he continues to do what he's doing right now, and that takes nothing away from the other guys. I think Gabriel. We talked
He's a
about this a little bit last week with Coy, but record
Gabriel's
wise,
affirmative
number one
action.
team, number one team in the country, and he's the quarterback.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Quarterback's
that's
always gonna
affirmative.
get the
Yeah, that's
benefit of the
affirmative
doubt.
action. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all
Yeah,
hear
we can
me?
hear you.
Yeah, we hear
That's
you, Coy.
affirmative action. That's affirmative action. Gabriel should not be in the top three. I don't want to hear it.
He's there.
He's a
I mean,
quarterback,
obviously he's
man.
there.
They always
He's
gonna
a
give it to the
quarterback, and he's
quarterback.
winning.
Yeah,
And they beat some
No,
opponents, and they're number one in the country.
no, he's a
With those,
quarterback on a winning team.
yes, but they come up, don't
yeah.
they? Historically, they come up.
All right, I agree. I hear you. I don't mean I gotta like it, but I hear you. But
Yeah, I mean that's like back
he's
in
a
when
he's a,
when
he's a
when
pure. It's like when old boy from what was it, Frost won it. Which one won it? There was a career goal, career achievement thingy. But my point remains is, remember when we got into discussion last week, Tyrone? I'm sorry,
Yep,
Mister 41. That
yep.
if you got quarterbacks that can run your offense, but aren't quarterbacks that can win you a game. When have we seen Gabriel win a game? What Heisman moments have you seen out this guy all year?
only game I could think of was the Ohio State. He made the throws and the decisions. That whole Ohio State game was
He
impressive.
ran, he ran, he ran his offense, right?
Yeah, he ran an efficient offense. He didn't turn the
Okay,
ball over. I mean, and
exactly.
that's
Notice
that's
what you
what you're
said.
supposed to
Notice
do
what
as
you
a
said.
quarterback. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
so we're saying we're gonna give him the Heisman because he does what he's getting paid to do. Come
No,
on.
I'm not giving him the Heisman. I just
Right.
said he
But
was
we're
up in
saying
the
that
he was mentioned. I mean, just being mentioned. He's a
yeah,
quarterback, so he's going to
Yeah,
be mentioned. I
right.
mean, the two that I like, Gentry one, and then Hunter two. I mean, after watching Cam yesterday, Cam is no in the conversation to me. He
and
made a
but
And
lot of
but the
unnecessary
well,
argument
the
could be
only
mistakes.
way,
made. The argument could be made the other way too, like with 100. Okay,
Yeah,
you're able to. They putting you in two positions, but you're not really, like stat popping
I'm
on both positions.
I'm a
yeah.
Gentry guy. I mean, honestly, if
Yeah,
you want to, anytime the words Barry Sanders records come into play,
yeah,
Hmm.
that should automatically. Number two, like you, I mean, we've had the discussion. Do I think if you want to say best athlete in college football, Travis Hunter by far, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hands down.
No
But
question.
if we want to say best corner in college football, maybe not. He's probably
Yeah,
top one or two or three. Number one
Yeah,
receiver,
he's
definitely,
definitely top three. Number one receiver.
definitely not,
No,
definitely
he's
not.
not number one
right.
So
receiver.
you see my point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, but
definitely.
and then
but
and then
best athlete.
yeah,
Yes,
but
Hunter is
then
the best
then
athlete.
and then does he return kicks? No. I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure if
and
they gave him the opportunity, he
but
could
he
bring
but
back a
he's
punt.
not right. But
Yeah.
understood, like you have to. I mean, like if he had a couple of kickoffs or punts back for ridiculous amount of yards or touchdowns,
Hmm.
it would be a runaway run. But because of the amount of downs you play on offense and defense, you can't afford to put him on special teams. What I'm saying is he's he's number two, and I agree with him being one, two, or three. Well, two or three. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The running
I'm,
back is my guy,
yeah,
but
yeah, I'm cool with
Gentry's
him
my
being
guy.
in the room. Yeah, he
But
definitely
But
should be
with
in the room.
Hunter,
absolutely.
with Hunter, I want to see if and when the opportunity presents itself, game on the line, they need a big play, and they know the other team is punting. And Dion look at Hunter and say, "Get out there, and make it happen." I want to see when that opportunity presents itself. It's probably in the playbook, but the situation never came up to where they have to put Hunter in that situation to where you have to have that, let's say, quote unquote, Dion moment where the game on the line and he make two, three guys miss and in a 3 yard span and just pop one. I mean, that would just break it open. He'll win hands down if that situation were to happen this season before
Yeah,
the end of the season. I mean, that would just be all over ESPN, FS Sports. Mr. 411 have 50 clips of it from every angle. You know, and we'll be
oh
talking
He'll
man,
be on
about it,
first
man.
take.
and,
Exactly.
and also
Get up
guys,
all of them.
yeah, and also guys, going back to Gentry, you know, he's done it again. I mean, he ran over the number one team in the country. So he ran
Yeah,
over Oregon. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And Boise State Broncos, they are like a top 10 team right now or flirting with it. I mean, I'm sure we'll
yeah.
get to that later. So, you add those in there too. I think that he should be the leader in the clubhouse, but
No,
obviously Vegas.
he clearly is. He clearly is. I mean, I know what I said a couple weeks ago when you brought him up, and I'm like, I want to see a little bit more. I want to see how long he could sustain it.
Yeah,
Look, I seen it with my own two eyes the other night, man. When they played, I'm impressed, man. The kid is just amazing. It's amazing. He's every week he's making himself, a number like a true top 10 pick. If he
yeah.
decides to come out.
But one guy we didn't talk too much about in this Heisman campaign. You can see him over there at the top right. Cam Ward, right? They fall short to Georgia Tech. It was a late fumble in that game
Yeah,
that helped Georgia Tech seal that victory. But Cam Ward, sounds like he made that loss, may have taken him out of that Heisman Ward case. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think about that game between Tech and Miami, and what the backlash will be there for Miami?
The
That
well,
was
man.
a. Oh,
Y'all got it. I'll go last.
all right, I'll go first. So that was
Or-
an unbelievable game. Georgia Tech with another upset. Georgia Tech all season has been upsetting these nationally ranked teams. They should be nationally ranked right now. And Cam Ward didn't play so good yesterday. I feel like with that loss, like y'all said, took him out of the favorites to win a Heisman. Travis Hunter should be the favorite to win the Heisman this season.
All right.
well, all right. Going about with Georgia Tech. I mean, first of all, you got all you. It seemed like they should be ranked higher. You got to remember that conference is not getting any respect. I mean, you had an undefeated Miami that took almost the entire season to even break into the top. I mean, first half of the season to break into the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the voters and the people that the powers that be are saying this conference weak, and you look at it, you had a Miami team that didn't break the top two, being undefeated up until this week, and everybody's gonna scream, "Oh yeah, see what we told you about
Yep.
Miami." So
That's gonna be me.
they're not looking at that conference as a. But on the same token, Tyrone, you got teams that lose to Vanderbilt that's going to be back in the top 10. Watch Miami drop almost probably to 12 or 13.
Whew.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that's a free fall, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I
Well,
mean, but
that
those,
was must win for Miami.
yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, personally, I watched the part of the game yesterday with Miami, and some of that game was on Cam. He made some bad decisions, overthinking. Some bad. I know he's throwing 50-50 balls to his guys, and it was just, it's like, man, take what the defense give you. You don't have to try to push the ball down,
Oh,
down the field. Hmm.
my problem with that is pretty much 100% as Cam go, Miami go. So
Yeah.
if he don't take the shots and he don't take the risk, Miami's not gonna. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't. His supporting cast is not stepping up at all. It's either Cam or nothing.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but that's a lot of pressure on that young man. To
Yes.
to to be in that situation every possession. And then two,
Exactly.
you look at it, and the way Miami was winning, they won a lot of games with walk-offs and mistakes by other teams. They should have lost that Virginia Tech game. They came
True.
back and won. I mean, there's a lot of
The
asterisks
California game.
next. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
asterisks next to
But
games to
when you
Yeah,
look
where
it
it
at
feel
those
like
wasn't
Miami had
convincing
games,
a lot of
wins.
unlucky wins.
Exactly. So I mean, the rooster, the what they say, the chickens came home to roost yesterday,
hmm
because Georgia Tech, them boys, they was waiting for Georgia Tech to just start quitting when they went down, and Georgia Tech kept on bringing it. They kept on running the ball at their defense. You seen those guys started getting gassed, because I mean, if it wasn't the quarterback running, it was the running back. I mean, just sweeps. They was just pounding the ball down their throat, and then taking the opportunities to pass the ball down the field when they were there, using the read option and things of that nature. So, it was a good win by Tech. Tech, should they be ranked? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I think they are where they're supposed to be at right now,
Exactly.
so far.
And
Mhm.
and think
Yeah,
about this: in a loss, Cam threw for 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards.
Yeah,
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
And what we
yeah. I
all gonna
mean,
remember is the L to
yeah.
Tech.
I mean, on Sunday, Cam will be there on Sunday. It's a lot of bad quarterback play. So
A lot of
it's gonna
opportunity.
pay off. Yeah, it's gonna pay off for him. So far as the Heisman, not so much.
It looks like he'll be a Carolina Panther.
And
Uh,
I got in late. What was the take on Colorado?
Well, they control their own destiny. At this point, and my concern with them is still 10 rushing attempts, and then their opponent running back for Texas Tech, Brooks, he had 31 rushing attempts, 137 yards, touchdown. So they're still showing me that the trenches are going to be the issue against better teams. You know what I mean?
hmm
So, how do you feel about Colorado at this point?
They moved to the next level of transition. I'm sure everybody's going to scream that they should be a top 12 team. No.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they still got Iowa State on their schedule, or is that who they got left on their
They got,
schedule?
I think they have Kansas on their schedule, and Kansas upset Iowa State this weekend.
hmm
Uh, they also have, let's see, Utah and Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, that's the one.
yeah, that Oklahoma State
So
game is that they play tough.
So they got Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. Then obviously the conference championship game if they get that far. So and if they go undefeated here, if they win these three, and then you win your conference championship game,
Oh yeah, that's playoffs. They
then
gonna
you
they
there.
gonna get in. Yeah, they
Yeah.
gonna get in. That's
So
for
there's
Yeah,
sure.
they
no
they
there's
top
no
heavy.
there's no excuses now. You can't say that people hating and things like that. You can get it done right here
y'all,
yourself.
y'all, y'all, wait, y'all say that's playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
y'all
is
got
it
to
if you
look
win
at
the conference? I
Yeah,
mean,
you win the conference, you win.
yeah.
That's the whole
not all
premise of the.
conference, not all conferences.
Well, the P4, right, or whatever it is, P4,
Yeah,
P5.
and guess what? That's not a P4 conference.
Well,
No.
I feel like if they do all that, they'll make sure they're in. They'll get the, if nothing
Yeah.
else, they'll get that Notre Dame, because the Dion/Notre Dame, we
Treatment.
got to have
Yeah.
you on here, man. It's big money.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Maybe,
you seen that
but I'm just
stands
saying.
at Tech Stadium. You couldn't find a seat in that place.
mm,
Yeah.
That may push you more than anything, but I'm just
Hmm.
looking at the 2 loss and the 1 loss teams
Yeah.
that you talking about they're going to jump if everything pans out like it is for the rest of the season. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be much better 2 loss teams in Colorado, or 1 loss team, or 1, 2 loss teams, even some 3 loss teams, because of, again, like, because of who you play too. You know what I'm saying? You got a team like, let's just say, a Georgia. If they lose 2 games, 3 games, do you still, with the if you was in that room, would you say Colorado's better than Georgia? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, then it comes down to, okay. Look, if you look at that conference, it's going to come down to Tennessee or Texas. I think Tennessee's a 1 loss team right now, right? Or they're two. They're 1 loss
Yeah.
team,
I think they one loss. Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
and they got
So
Georgia
you
down the
got a one
stretch.
loss. You got a 1 loss Tennessee. You got a 1 loss. Well, it's going to either be 1 loss Tennessee or 3 loss Georgia. which kicks Georgia out the conference championship, which puts them in the same predicament as last year. And then you got pretty much we can agree that Texas is going to be one loss going into the SEC championship. It's just
Mm-hmm.
whether it's going to be it's just whether it's going to be Texas and Tennessee one loss teams for the championship game, and then you got Alabama, you got Ole Miss if they don't lose again, and pretty much we can agree that Alabama is in a position where they shouldn't lose any more games, so they're going to be in the top 10. You got
Yeah, the key word
Joe
is shouldn't, but I see them losing one more.
to who?
Moreau is he's not it.
Yeah,
No,
I
he's
ain't gonna
not.
lie.
He's
Monroe
not
has
it.
been like inconsistent this season, like up and
Yeah.
He's
down a
not
lot.
being
Yeah.
he's been exactly what he is. You got what I've been saying, and I said it last year, I said it this year. He makes his first read, or he throws a deep ball, or he takes off. The times that Bama's got in trouble is when teams make him have to worry about that second read, and he can't bail.
Yeah. That sounds like
He
college
basically,
football.
yeah, oh,
Yep.
I mean, no,
It's a
no,
lot
that
of them
kid.
like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's when you got a pure athlete that still
Mm-hmm.
needs to be groomed as a quarterback at a quarterback position, and you make the mistake of you letting the athleticism be everything versus trying to bring back some of the athleticism and teaching them the business,
Yeah.
groom
Yeah.
them to be a quarterback.
Right. Well, and
Because I
since we
mean,
talked,
if you want to talk about just pure talent and pure
yeah.
built talent, as far as strong arm, as far as speed, as far as that type of stuff, he's probably the number one prospect. If you want to just
Oh
go,
yeah.
oh,
He's
but it's all the other stuff that you got to worry about.
Can,
correct.
can I
Yeah.
say a comparable to an NFL player who's a second year player right now? Moreau remind me of
Who?
Mr. Richardson out in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Andy
Yeah,
Richardson. Yeah, he
that's not
plays
going
just like
that's not
him.
yeah that's not going to go over well. Owners see that. That's why it goes back to what I was saying about Shador. Owners want to see that ball in the air spinning. They don't want to see the guy run because they know that's short lived. That's injuries. That's me, the owner having, a 20, 25 million, $30 million quarterback sitting on the bench in a sling,
Yep.
and they don't want
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
so.
And guys, you brought up the SEC matchups. So let's shift there and get this one done before we get into our top 10. Georgia, they got handled, man, by Ole Miss.
About time.
They got
How many
handled,
interceptions
guys.
Beck have?
As a
They got handled, gentlemen. What
Yeah.
happened here, man?
Oh, miss that
well,
defense.
yeah.
Is it that defense or Georgia's lack of offensive creativity?
Yeah, I think it's both. I didn't even
Because
watch that game, so y'all can fill me in on it. My
All
question
right.
is, what did Beck do? Because I mean, I know
Beck
he's
played
a
horrible.
turnover machine.
Yeah. Beck
What'd you
was
say, Nard?
trash. Uh, I was saying Carson Beck, he did not have a good game. The offense was horrible. The defense was horrible. Georgia did not play like how they were supposed to play. Like this was supposed to be the best team in college football, but I think they forgot how to play football this game.
Man, there it is right there, Beck, 186 and an INT. Um,
There you
that
go.
is a
Never
formula for an
fails.
L.
Yep. Yep.
And they were not
Yeah. Don't look
impressive
like
on the
they got the
ground
rushing
either.
yards. Yeah. Yeah. And that's Georgia's calling card to have, at least 80 to 100, 125 yards rushing every game from a running back, if not a committee of running backs.
Yeah.
But if you don't fear the quarterback and you start running run blitzes and start packing the box and your quarterback, and I don't fear your quarterback and I can do one-on-ones on the outside because
Mm-hmm.
your quarterback is not guaranteed to make the right decisions. All of a sudden, your running game is at a standstill unless you just have some ridiculous legendary offensive lines.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Like
Yeah.
Kirby Smart plays like a Bama team of the early 2010s. You know what I'm saying? Where they
Mm-hmm.
where they where they can just manhandle you with the physicality and then play defense. But
Yeah.
even in that tenure with Saban, he eventually had to open up his offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that is true. That is true, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And
yeah, so
pretty much that's what it was, man. They got handled
so
on the lines. But go ahead.
So Georgia got what? 3 losses now or 2?
2.
2. Okay.
But they also they're gonna have a win over census number 2 team in the country, and it's possible with Bama as Bama's keep moving up, Bama's gonna probably fall to 9, well move up to 8 or 9. So they got 2 top 10 wins. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And then their 2 losses. I mean, I'm sorry, they got one top 10. They got one top. They got a win over number 1, and then they'll have their 2 losses to being 2 playoff bound teams as far as 12, because Ole Miss will move into the top 12 as of this week.
yeah. And don't and
Okay.
also and also don't forget this. Tennessee is still on the schedule. They're going to be probably in the top 5,
Mm-hmm.
6. By the time they play them, that's
Right.
another possible victory over a top 5, top 6 program.
That's going to
Ranked
determine
team.
the Tennessee game will determine whether Georgia makes the playoffs or not.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because
I
if they
think they're gonna
lose,
lose that game.
because if they lose to Tennessee, then all of a sudden it becomes Tennessee and pretty much Texas in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All
And
right,
then
gentlemen.
and then you fall back with Ole Miss and Alabama making the playoffs and Georgia being dropping to 3rd because I mean
And
you
then
lost to
also,
those 2 head to head.
yeah, and also Clemson will probably be top like 17, 18. So they'll have a victory over a team that's in the top 20. I think they're going to be in the playoff unless they just fall off the
Uh,
face of the earth, in my opinion.
If
nah,
they
we
lose
might
to
as well jump. We might
Tennessee, that's 3
we,
losses. I don't see them putting a
we might
3
as well
loss team in there.
jump into that right now. You got
Yeah.
if you're looking at the play, we might as well jump into the playoffs. We can do 25, but let's do the playoffs.
Well,
All right.
before we do though, let's give Army credit here. They're in the top 20. Speaking of top 20, 14-3 over North Texas. The Army, they're continuing their winning ways. Happy Veterans Day tomorrow for all the veterans, honoring those who serve. And now, of
Salute.
course,
Salute.
yes, yes, yes. So with all that said, now let's get into what you all can't wait to talk about, which is this playoff scenario.
Oregon's obviously sealed, pretty much done sealed their deal unless they screw up.
Yeah.
Texas is probably going to fall. I mean, well, Ohio State, then Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
so those are your first. Those are your first. There's 2 of your 3 top seeds. Number 4 is technically Tennessee should move. Tennessee or Penn State should move to number 4, but Penn State don't get the credit.
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's 4. And then Miami's going to fall to 8 or 9, maybe even out to maybe to 10, probably or 12.
yeah. They're gonna be on that edge because don't forget BYU's gonna move in there a little bit further too because they was number 9 and they haven't lost.
They still
That
undefeated?
one's
Yeah,
yeah, it was a
Oh
sham, but
wow.
anyway, it's a
Yeah, I know that
sham.
that
they
mountain.
they
They in that
they
mountain
squeak they
conference.
squeak by Utah, but they still undefeated. So they're gonna be in the top 10.
It's a sham. It's a
I
sham. That
mean,
was a sham.
I don't argue with you on that.
I'm
That's
talking
how
about
I
the
felt
end of the
about
game.
Miami.
I'm no, I don't say I don't feel about BI team. I feel about the end of the game.
Oh yeah, that was tricky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a little bit trickery that was going on at the end of that game. But and then like I said, Army's still undefeated. BYU, they're pushing up. You got Notre Dame with 1 loss.
Yeah.
Oh God.
oh yeah, they're gonna be in. Unfortunately.
So you're gonna have 2 from the Big Ten: Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana. Indiana's still
Oh,
moving along.
Indiana. Yep, you
Oh
They're
yeah,
can't
yeah.
forget
pushing
them.
towards
Indiana.
3.
They're gonna be
But they
top
still
10.
the undefeated team that's got to fight to be in a Power 5, Power 4 conference has
Yep.
to fight to move into top 10. If that ain't the biggest sham ever,
Hey
Yeah.
man, keep pounding that Indiana horn door, man. Keep pounding that drum, man.
Yeah, they play
so,
blue collar football, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
so you got 3 from that conference possibly, and then you
Mm-hmm.
got I'm gonna say probably 4 from the SEC. It depending on how the Tennessee and Georgia game go. It'll be if Tennessee win, then it'll be Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, and Alabama. I don't see the 15. I don't see the 3-loss team, Georgia team going. Just don't.
No, and I want to say this: that Georgia Tennessee game is most likely winning you're in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm wondering with this playoff, with this new design, they got 12 teams. They're gonna have to level the player field. It just can't be all SEC and Big Ten. That's kind of
It could be
more of the
4 of them.
same. Yeah, I
It could
get
be
it,
4 of
but
each.
they're gonna have to level it out. With the other
That's. I
conferences.
just gave you. Well, we just between those two conferences, we just gave you 7 teams, so at least 5 spots open.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're gonna
Notre
have a
Dame
Boise,
automatically.
like a Boise will get
Uh,
one of them
maybe,
if they don't lose.
maybe,
If they keep winning,
maybe. Okay, then what do you? I mean, are we gonna say Boise over Miami? Or we're gonna say Boise. Who? Okay, either you're gonna
yes.
take. Are you gonna say Boise over one of the 2-loss SEC teams, or the 1-loss Penn State, or the 1-loss Indiana, or the 1-loss Ohio?
No, but they'll
All
get
right,
in.
all right,
They'll
all right.
they'll get
Then
in,
you
but
move.
they'll get in.
Then we
They'll get
move.
in
Then you
over
move it.
Miami, Corey. They will get in.
Then you move on. Then you move on to you saying they will get in on Miami. Okay, that's where you're gonna slide them in. Then we move into possibly undefeated BYU team, which, if I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
mistaken, so we have an undefeated BYU team left. We got a 1-loss Notre Dame team, so that's 9 teams. Now you got 3
yikes!
spots left.
It's getting
We haven't
tight.
even talked about we haven't talked about the Oregon is still undefeated, so Oregon is pretty much in. That's
Yes,
10 teams. Now you have 2 spots left.
yeah, and that's where you got to look at fanfare and TV, man.
Nah, this
So
still
that's where
this
the
is gonna come down to the
Colorados
wire.
and those types of teams come in. Who's
man.
going who's going to keep eyeballs on the tube? You know, I mean, I think they're going to grandfather Colorado into one of those slots. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to, man. I mean,
Mm.
the
There's still a lot of
ratings
football to be
alone,
played, gentlemen.
yeah, the ratings alone, man. I
Yeah.
mean, they bring it,
Do
and
you know
and
how
and
many? Do
and
you
the
know how many
networks know,
bandwagon
dude.
fans will be
Yes, that's what
on
I'm talking
board
about.
with
The
this?
networks know. They look at the numbers.
People who don't even know where Colorado is buying Colorado shirts, man.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Now all of a
They
sudden
going,
they're Colorado fans. But yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see
so
what
but
happens next year when Colorado got to replace the quarterback.
they won't be Colorado fans after that.
well, then they don't they have a number one of the best quarterbacks either transferring or going there after
Well,
Shador leaves?
well, it's rumored that the quarterback that Lewis, I believe his name was, they that committed to USC, but I think he decommitted, and
Mm-hmm.
so he was supposedly at one of the games recently, and they're thinking that the Colorado's the leader in the clubhouse for him. He's a 5-star QB. I think that's the possibility. That's the move that could keep Colorado in the mix next year, like they are this year.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. Like you said, it's a lot of football to play. It can, on Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, kid could wake up with the flu and they'll
Yeah.
lose a game that nobody expected them to lose.
But hey, I don't think people thought that Miami was going to lose, and I don't think a lot of people thought Georgia was going to lose. So
Nah,
yeah, you're right. Upsets are every week, man. And by the way, the one quiet upset that we did mention, Kansas defeated Iowa State, so you got to keep an eye on Kansas
yeah,
down the stretch too. They may be a factor in here too. And then Boise could lose a game. You know what I'm saying? They could, and BYU could. Those are 2 teams that cannot afford to lose at this point.
yeah.
So, and possibly Indiana too. So they can't lose anymore. But if those teams run the table, it's going to be an interesting conversation, man, when it gets down to these playoff slots.
Yeah. Do Indiana play Ohio State this year?
We can fact check that real quick.
Yeah, let's see who else is on their schedule, and that'll
But they would
determine.
have to play some sort of conference championship game, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
And
they
then
would get somebody at some point.
in
So,
state Ohio State, one of them schools.
oh wow, look at
It's
this.
gonna
November 23rd, Indiana and Ohio State.
There you go.
So
There
there
you
it is.
go.
You
There
called
you
up the
go.
boogeyman. You called up the boogeyman. So here we go. All
Hey
right.
man.
That's going to have some impact there. Implications on the line there, man. Playoff
Yep.
spots.
Because if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken, then if Indiana beats Ohio State, is Penn State on the same side of that conference as Ohio State, or have they went to the round robin rule too?
I think they're all in the same
Okay,
conference. Yeah.
so that means Ohio State will have 2 losses, and Penn State and Indiana have 1.
Oh, wow. That's ugly.
Yeah. Murky. Look, the waters is real murky now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then
Wow.
it's gonna be like, well, how did you lose? Did you lose on a field goal, 52-yard field goal,
It's not gonna matter.
versus getting blown out?
I mean,
And then when you talk about these conferences, it's kind of weird that we say it. And, a lot of us, it depends on how long you've been watching college football too, but when we say Big Ten, is also the Pac-12. It's the Big Ten / Pac-12 conference. You know what
right,
I'm saying? It's like
they
2
cannibalize
conferences in
everybody.
one.
That's the thing about it. Oregon's technically is in that conference. I keep forgetting that.
Right.
Yeah.
There
So
you
I
go.
mean, so if Ohio State lose again, then
Yeah.
it's a wrap.
It gets interesting, guys. But man,
Yeah.
look, I'm so glad you guys were able to get on and talk today. Again, another week of college football, man. And man, when that playoff, we're gonna have some serious playoff conversations next week, I would think. So can't wait for that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Oh
keep
yeah.
that bracket handy and pretty much transparent with what week to week until the final week, man, because it's gonna change. I got a feeling
Absolutely.
that a lot of teams it's gonna be moving around.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well
They
then,
basically turned the college football into what March Madness used to be.
Yeah, I
yeah.
love it, man. It's interesting.
I'm glad. Look, we're gonna leave it right there on that because that's what we're gonna talk about next week. The playoff system and your thoughts about it. Because I'm gonna have something to say about that.
All
But
right.
Well,
for
I'm
Nard,
I'm a traditionalist, so you know
yeah.
how they.
So it'll be an interesting conversation, guys, especially when we see who wins next week and kind of make the picture a little bit more clear. But we're gonna roll out of here today, since we got about a minute left. But make sure you check out the Nard Report, and all his social media platforms. I want to thank Philly Red Zone for being on. Want to thank
Salute,
Coy
salute.
for being on. And I'm Mr. 411. We thank everybody. Tune in, man. Triple option. We'll catch y'all next week.
Later.
Later.
All right, y'all.